Hello, YouTube. We are back for another upload in relation to Saucedogcomics X-Men #1. We have it here between my two shelving units. It's been in the press, and as we all know, it's been a while, but we're back, and we want to finish this book. So I have it resting. It's leaf casted. It's together. I like to put it with my Teflon sheets, just having it within the bookbinding press and it relaxing after all of the leaf casting and all of that work that we did on the book. So, am I happy with it? The answer is yes, I'm very happy with it. And it came together very nicely. And I feel that it is a very nice conserved job. It is complete. It is one piece now, as you can see by flipping it around. We have nice squared corners. The donor back page from Sergeant Fury's Howling Commandos fits very nicely. The leaf casting spine fits very nicely. And the front cover came together nicely. I had an issue that I'm a little disappointed about, is that when we were leaf casting it, there was a crease here prior to leaf casting and cleaning, and it was a real strong, prominent crease. There was also a crease going across the cover, and it didn't handle the leaf casting process well, because with the sucking down the cover and the drying of the cover with the new leaf casted pulp, a crease developed here that I was unable to get out, and it's unfortunate, but you have to understand, guys, we're dealing with a book and paper that is from 1963. So there are going to be issues from time to time. But everything other than that, I feel looks very nice. I'm very happy with the results. So what we need to do right now is we have to work on the staples. And the staples were rusted, and we have to make the staple holes. We have to reinsert the staples in the book, close everything up, and then send it to CGC for grading. So right here, it's very nice. The cover folds easily. You are able to open it nicely. It flexes very nicely, as you can see. I had to reinforce the crease in the middle. I had to reinforce a crease right here. But I'm very happy, and I think that we will have a awesome shot of getting a conserved grade for this book. But now we have some work to do. And the work that we have to do is we need to essentially take care of the staples, and we need to reinstall the staples in the book. So we probably have a good 2 or 3 more uploads in relation to this. I want to put the book away. I want to store it in my press, Big Bertha. And it's a light press that we're going to keep it in right now. I'm not going to wrench down on it, but I just want to keep the book safe and sound, compressed between the two shelving units. As you saw, I removed the paper and the backer board that was in the center. That's fine for now, because we are not wrenching down on it. I'm just putting slight pressure to keep the book flat, and that's all that we want to do. So what are we going to do next? Well, this is going to be staples from this point forward, okay? and staples is what it's going to be. And people may say to themselves, Self, are staples that important? Of course they are. They are what holds the book together. So we need to conserve them, because the staples in the X-Men #1 that I received from Saucedogcomics were in pretty bad shape. I believe they did have some rust on them, and I have it right here. And again, this is X-Men. This is the top. So I always do that with my staples, and I put it between tape just like this. And as you can see, they are pretty rusted. And I hope the camera is picking it up. But right there are the staples. And then what I want to do is I want to get a close picture of the staples, just like this, for my viewing. And let's do it this way. So here you can see they're in rough shape. They do have rust on them. And when I work on staples, I don't want to use chemicals. I don't want to use steel wool. I want to try to do it naturally. So again, here's some more photos of the staple. And I'm doing this as well so I can reflect when I reinstall the staples. I know which staple is which, because they are unique. Not every staple is alone. Not every staple is the same. They're all unique, okay? So what do we got here? We got 2 plastic containers. Bum, 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 bum. Just like that. What are we going to do? What I'm going to do is, what do we got here? Distilled white vinegar. 5% acidity, acid. Boy, I loved acid back in the day, but 5% acidity. This is from the supermarket. This is what I needed when I said in my prior uploads that I had to get from the supermarket to basically fix the staples. So we got distilled white vinegar, 5% acidity. This 5% acidity is going to take the rust off of the staples, hopefully. And I know it will, because I've done it in the past. So what I want to do now is I have my blue tape. I am going to label each container. This is going to be top, T-O-P, top. We're going to do top right here. And I'm going to put it on this container so we know that it is the top. Now, should I put one and label it bottom? Why not? I know it's not necessary because I have one listed as the top, but let's just do it as well because that's how I am. I'm weird and I like to label things. So we have some tape and we're going to put it on now, bottom. Okay, so the next thing what we're going to do is I'm going to take the top staple, just like this, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in the container, and then we're going to take the bottom staple and we're going to put it on or in the right container. See how simple it is here in Jerry the Jitterbug Lair? It's simple. We do things simple. I'm not going to measure out the white vinegar. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up. Now, when you open up the white vinegar, make sure you turn it counterclockwise, guys. You must turn it to the left, and you must take it off. You must put it to the side, and we're going to pour a little white wine vinegar in. I think that's enough. Then we're going to move it over. We're going to pour a little bit in the vessel that is labeled bottom. That's what we're going to do. And I am going to keep the staples in here overnight. And then I'll come and I'll agitate it like this. And I'll do that periodically. And then after doing that, hopefully, it will eat away the rust that is on the staple, and we'll be able to get it down to pure steel, okay? And when you're working on staples, you don't want to be abrasive. You don't want to take steel wool and rub steel wool on the staples, because what will happen is, although this is a conserved book, I don't want to put imprints. I don't want to put markings, scars on the staples. You want to try to remove the rust naturally. Now, there's also another way you can do it, vinegar, and you can also use Coca-Cola. I've used Coca-Cola in the past to remove rust off of car parts, tools, and staples. But I like the vinegar better because the Coca-Cola leaves a sticky substance on it. Then you have to wind up cleaning that off, and if there's a little water in what you're cleaning it, or if you're going to use solvents, I want to try to stay away from that. So that's it, guys. This is a quick upload. We're back with the X-Men #1. I hope you think it looks good. Minus that crease, I couldn't do anything about it, because when you have old paper and the new paper, even when you're pressing it, it manipulates and dries differently. With the Golden Age, it happens less, but with the Silver Age books, it happens a lot more, okay? And there's nothing that you can do about it, especially when you're dealing with leaf casting. It's not a situation where you're just leaf casting it and it's done and okay, the way it looks, it will stay. No, sometimes when it dries, things happen. And an example, especially in books that the covers are in pieces, is this book right here. Does everyone remember this book? This is the Flash Comics. Okay, I did this last year. I didn't even send it to CGC. Maybe I'll give it away. I don't know. But this was a real bad book in relation to the rips, in relation to the cover. It was in a lot of pieces, okay? And I put them all back together, similar to the X-Men #1. This book has a lot more pieces that are missing, okay? So there it goes. Everything is nicely put together. I didn't even really send this off or try to get this graded because there was a tremendous amount of leaf casting that was done in this book. And with this book also, what I did was I did a whole Tengojo wrap on it. And it does give a film on the interior, but now this book can be read, okay? And by way of example, there were hairline cracks or really bad creases in this book. One here, but the major hairline crease was right by Flash's head, and it went like this. So what happened was, after I leaf casted it, and this similar to the Saucedogcomics X-Men #1, when it dried, and just by letting it acclimate into normal room atmosphere, the crease lifted and it separated from the leaf casting. So what happens is, when that happens, you have to try to re-glue it by using methyl cellulose, I use, and a small paintbrush. But the problem is, once a little moisture is added to something that is leaf casted, the paper goes a little wonky, and you have to try to adjust it with ironing and pressing, and it just sometimes doesn't want to behave. The paper doesn't want to behave. So again, we are making a solid book out of multiple pieces, and this is one of the perils that happens. There's nothing that you can do about it, or at least I don't have an answer for it, and it just happens from time to time with different books when you are leaf casting it. But again, this book came out very nice, and I also think that the X-Men #1 came out very nice. Remember, you're dealing with paper from 1963 and you're trying to get it all together into one book. There is going to be issues, small, big, whatever, but there's going to be issues from time to time. So that's it for this upload. Tell me what you think. Subscribe, leave a comment, and then next upload we'll take care of the staples, we'll clean them up, and then we'll start putting the holes in to the interior, and we'll put holes into the cover, and I'll show you how we're going to install the staples in the X-Men #1. I have a few things in my mind that I'm going over, different ways to doing it, because you also have to understand you have to be very delicate handling the X-Men #1, because the Silver Age books are not strong. They're not. And especially with the leaf casting. This Golden Age book, I can thumb through it, I can bend it. Even after the leaf casting, I can manipulate it, I can do what I want with it because it's strong like bull. But the X-Men and Silver Age books, they're wimpy, in my opinion. They're not hardy, they're not strong. And I see a lot of posts where people are working on Silver Age books and they experience tremendous amount of color loss. They experience a lot of issues when working on Silver Age books that I took a lot of steps trying to prevent. If you recall, when we washed the cover, I didn't soak it, I used my sprayer. All things trying to prevent color loss, further damage, because it's a risk. It's a cost-benefit analysis every time you are going to work on a Silver Age book. So that's all I have to say about that. Stay tuned and thank you for supporting the channel. See you soon.